Hi there, so today we're going to be talking about getting a mentor. So for all of you who do not know, my mentor is essentially Jason McCumber. He's a professional wedding photographer, him and his wife, Sydney. They've been doing weddings for 5 or 7 years now. Has to probably be that long. I met him about 3 years ago, and we became good friends after that. Hung out quite a bit. We messed with a lot of camera gear. When little story here. When we first met, we had a camera gear nerd off exhibition, and we were going over some different or different specs and different philosophies about camera gear. And for the first time, Jason beat me at how much nerdiness in camera gear he knew. I had him with diffraction, with all sorts of lens stuff, crop factors, blah 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 blah. But as soon as we went into different processors and processor speeds inside of cameras, I did not keep up. So, Jason, you bested me on that one. That you did, for sure. So I want to do a little talk about essentially how I met Jason and how I think that a lot of you guys, if you're wanting to pursue photography or videography, could most likely get a mentor yourself. I believe mentors are not there to motivate you per se. I believe they are there to guide you in the direction, not to get you going, because they have a lot to do. Like, especially if they're in photography or videography, like you have a lot to do. If you're not shooting, you're editing. If you're not editing, you're trying to get you're talking to clients. If you're not talking to clients, you're trying to get new clients, and then the cycle just repeats. Like, that is all you do every day. Tip number 1 is you're gonna need a portfolio of something. I start off in products, which I know I've had a few requests for people to talk about how I did my product photos, and I probably will later. Right now, I'm just real busy with video stuff and coming into kind of the wedding music video season. So, I basically shot a whole bunch of products to show that I knew some lighting, I knew some basic camera stuff. Basically, that I'm doing this myself as well. And then I emailed out actually 9 different wedding photographers. I just found local wedding photographers on a list. I emailed them all out, and then basically I got one response, and it was Jason, and we started talking from there. So tip number 1, have a portfolio. Tip number 2, be willing to work for free for a time. I've second shot with Jason on 6 weddings on the first year, or 5 on the first summer that I knew him, and then 1 the next year. And I've only been paid for 1 or 2 of them. But that's what I said in my email. In my email, I said out, hey, I like your work. I'd love to come second shoot weddings with you. I have no experience shooting weddings. Here's my portfolio. I'm willing to work for free. I just want some experience. Tip number 3, find someone just a few steps above your skill set. Even though you can ask anyone to be your mentor, you could send out email to Quentin Tarantino, Michael Bay, if you want to be a director, if you want to blow stuff up all the time and get paid for it. You can send out those emails. They're very unlikely going to get a response. Find someone. It's really helpful, 1, if they're local, because then you can actually go meet them and talk to them. 2, they're just a few steps beyond you. They're not all the way up here. They're just a few steps. Because that way, number 1, they're more likely to actually say yes to you because they could use your help. Number 2 is that they've been where you are fairly recently. You know, Jason and Sydney have been shooting weddings for 5 or 7 years, I think, total. I think Sid started. I think Jason's been doing them for 5 years now. So, I mean, he still knew exactly, how he started and how he grew up his business and what he was able to do. So he was able to tell me those things. So that's been something very helpful. Tip number 4 is be humble. You're not the Jedi yet. You are the Padawan, if that makes any sense. You're not the master. You're the apprentice. Do pretty much whatever your mentor needs help with. I mean, I remember the first wedding I went with Jason. He just gave me a 70-200, and I put it on my camera body, and all I did was use a 70-200 the whole day. Because he likes shooting wide and bright, so he was in there with a 35 and with wider lenses, and I was back there with a 70-100, and I had a great time. But just try to build up your experience little by little. It takes time. You're building up a relationship. It can be a very awesome relationship. I've had a lot of fun with my mentor. Feels weird calling you that, Jason. It does. because you're just a friend. It's strange. I'm probably going to cut this whole part out. But being humble is very important. Being humble will go past. If you have great skill but you're not humble, no one cares. Like, especially in a mentorship program. If you can have someone hire you and do all that stuff, that's awesome. But if you want to have a mentor, being humble is very, very important. So those are my tips on how to get a mentor. Again, I believe a mentor is not to really give you motivation, but to guide your motivation. You have to be self-motivated yourself and come up with ideas and be actively pursuing whatever art or whatever field it is that you want to go into. I think you can get one. That's very possible. Actually, my video production company has a mentorship program that if you would like to come check it out, that's fine if you live in the Tacoma, Seattle, Olympia area. And if you want to learn how to make low-budget, small films very quickly with a very small crew, you can give me an email or go check out my website, and then we can talk from there. Anyways, guys, this was Tim Kraus. Have a good night. Bye.